Hey party people, welcome back to the Pretty Picture Party. It's me, Taylor, creator of the Ellis deck tarot and the tarot of the Starbound Phantasia. You get the wig again today because I need to cut my real hair and it looks bad and this looks beautiful and fun. But today we're going to do a reading. It is the dead zone week right now, or I guess that 2-week period. It's between Christmas and New Year's. And like many people, I've been out in public running around and wondering what on earth happened to manners and being polite and just being a person in public, an aware person, aware of your surroundings and the well-being of your fellow humans. And I know that there's a lot of YouTubes about this already from people with letters behind their names and degrees and valid social opinions. And, they have a lot of things to say. A lot of them are like, it's the phones. A lot of them are like, well, we see not nice people succeeding in everywhere in life. And so look at that tangle. That's our example now of how to be. But I'd like to see what the tarot has to say about it. And for that, I'm going to use the Ellis deck. And for clarification, I had fun last time pulling from another deck, so I'm going to use the tarot of the Starbound Phantasia. And let's give them a go. POV, you just brushed your beautiful blue hair. But we've got our decks right here. And I think what we need to do for our question is ask this as the collective. What is going on with the collective? Why are we like this to each other now? Why don't we like to be around each other? Why are we stressing each other out? I'm going to shuffle the Ellis deck first. Give it 3 shuffles. I'm going to bumble it here on camera because I don't always shuffle by sticking my arms that far out to shuffle, which of course vastly impacts my motor skills. Do we want to look at that as a jumper? Do we want to see what the jumper has to say? Is this our significator? Ooh, okay. So, as my mentor liked to say right off the bat. But we're going to go ahead and shuffle our clarification deck before we put any other cards out. I still have some of these Starbound Phantasia decks that are gilt with the silver. We didn't do any gilding on the Ellis decks this time around. Just wanted to give that a rest. The printers that I went with, they don't exactly do that. And so there you have it. Alrighty. So, like I said, right off the bat, the 3 of Swords. We are all feeling some pain. Everybody's getting squeezed right now. Stuff costs too much. Try looking for something happy in the news that's real. Try, using your apps that you've used forever in the way that they used to work, and they don't work that way anymore. We are hurtling towards renting everything and hating it. We're just being squeezed. I'm going to put this guy on here. And this little crossroads. This is going to be the crown. Like I said, I like to do a glass bead game spread, and so that has your significator and some personal cards in the middle, and then sort of some spokes of influence, pillars of influence, realms of influence, starting with the influence realm. Oops, all swords. We'll put everything up on the screen as we go. And again, this is for the collective. This is for everybody. And we'll pull clarification cards as needed. But let's get started. Okay, so we're going to break apart the significator down here. So we already talked about the Three of Swords a little bit there. It's covered by the Queen of Cups, and so this is a really strong feeling for everybody. We have this kind of just general discomfort, and then all of our own Queen of Cups is putting that out there for everybody else to enjoy. And like I say with this one, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And mama ain't happy. This is it bites right now. We just went through expensive season. We have expensive costumes in October. I don't have kids, but if you got kids, you've got to do stuff with them. They want to dress like K-pop demon hunters, and those wigs aren't cheap. And then you've got big meal month the next month. You've got Thanksgiving. That's the next sword in the heart. That's not a cheap meal to make, or I guess you get that special, Walmart meal that was $40 that has been shrinkflated. And then what do we have next? But got to get the hot toy. I kind of revel in being so out of touch at this point. I don't know what the hot toy of the season is. I don't know if kids want Bitcoins now or what they do, or Mr. Beast action figures or something, but you've got to get that. Or television teaches them that means that they weren't a good kid if they didn't get it. It's like, here's your first experience in unworthiness. So yeah, we're getting squeezed, and we're having to kind of be in these positions of generating feeling for each other, and what we've got in the cup ain't so hot. And what is the crossroads? We're getting robbed. We're getting robbed, guys, and we know it. And the alarms are sounding. And maybe this is us, and we don't have a plan. We didn't think it was going to work out this way. In some ways, we probably did everything we thought we needed to do, and then it turns out we were vastly unprepared. Sent into a job without training, or on the other hand, this is we're watching somebody make away with the whole sword shop, and we're just these little birds. We can't do anything to him. We can caw, but that's about it. This I would look at as the advice from the higher self, and the advice from the higher self is that we gotta just start being good to each other. It takes $0 to be polite. You gotta see when somebody needs something, and if it's no skin off your nose, give it to them, help them out. We gotta bring the love back. I want to pull a little clarification with that pup, and we get the Hierophant. And in some ways, I would say we're going to have to do the jobs of the churches that the churches don't do anymore. They don't let people in. They don't help people out the way they used to. I guess you could say I've got hot opinions on that, but if you're not paying taxes, and you're especially if you're one of these mega churches putting on these plays with people doing cable stunts in from the ceiling and live animals and all that, I'm pretty sure that there's some more soup or clean pairs of socks or other things that could go to help others. So I think that this being advice from the higher self is that we're going to have to kind of follow the written words that are laid out, the goodwill towards man. It's in our court now. So that's our significator. Moving out into the influence realm, which is the realm we start with in the bead game reading, we've got the Nine of Swords. And so The Nine of Swords is a commentary on both the influence of the time and our ability to have an influence on the situation. And the influence is fear. People really clearly drop a few IQ points when they're afraid. I would say probably the only time you get someone to act worse than when they're afraid is when you've embarrassed them. So we have to, if we're talking about how we're influencing a situation, is what are we beaming out? What, like when we go out to the store, does everyone in the store hate us, or did we decide everybody hated us before we went in the store? And if we're thinking that, if we're having that level of social anxiety, is everybody else around us having that social anxiety too? And, how are we, as the person that is aware in the situation, that gives us a certain responsibility. That means that we have to act better because we have a choice. And I'm going to pull a card for clarification on that. And we get a Starbound Two of Swords. And so, maybe that could be looked at. That's kind of a roadblock card, but you think about, say I'm going to use the store example just for this because it's easy, and I'm the one that goes to the store in my relationship, so I'm store pilled. But sometimes you got to sit there. Sometimes you got to let the other person go by. Wait a minute, chill, relax. You don't need to enter into conflict, even if it's a false balance at the interim. It can be an ingredient for peace. So that's our influence. Let's go over here to the metaphysical realm. It's just getting us in all the feels, isn't it? This is like the metaphysical or the unmanifested, and we've got our Five of Swords, and that's our little survivor Chicky Bird, and he's picking up the pieces, and we're in this scape of AI is getting our jobs. It's 85 degrees on Christmas. It's a real what the hell happened type thing, and we're the survivors. We're the ones that made it through this, and we're trying to pick up pieces, and we're trying to see what we can learn from the situation. And I think what we're having to manifest is kind of educate ourselves on the world, how the world is now. I talked about a Two of Swords and the influence there, but here he's got the two swords in his hand. He's picking them up. We've got the two guys in the background walking away. They've cast their swords aside, knowing it's just not the conflict with your fellow man is not the conflict that needs to take place. We're gonna have to do better. We're gonna have to get along. There's stuff that's objectively bad, but there's some stuff where we're going to have to agree to disagree because the bigger fish that need frying are starting to stink. So we'll put that guy back. I don't think we need clarification with him. If I get to the end, and I think we do, I'll pull some out. But here in the karma realm, or the action realm, we have judgment. We have our callings. We have, I know this is wrong. You know this is wrong. We got to do better. We got to be better to each other. Like I already said, if you're hearing that voice, it's your responsibility to be the better one, because it's got to start somewhere. It doesn't matter who was in the wrong first. That's not how things get solved. I am going to pull a clarification for that one, and it is the Empress. And so I think that we're all experiencing this stuff ain't right. I feel it. it's that Empress energy. It's wild energy. We are as animals reacting to the fact like it's not natural. Things are supposed to see their end. Um, things go in cycles. They reach towards balance, and you have people that are trying to put their thumb on the scale. And for us regular people, that will only do for so long. And it's, there's a tension in that. There's you're like, if there's another Walter moment, am I the only one here? And here we are. And so in your action, if you're feeling a calling to do something better, to be better, to contribute in a positive way to the situation, that's not going anywhere. And the more that you suppress that, it's like water swelling at the dam. And we're going to move on to the material realm. This is what we need to do to survive in the material world. And who frickin' knows? It's not obvious. It's the paralysis of infinite options, or maybe it's just that it's a bunch of dubious options at this point. What's a new job gonna do if it's the same pay? You're gonna have to find what's in your heart in the sense of that. What's the future to bet on? Who knows? But personally or individually, you're just gonna have to pick one of those up and focus on it at a time. There's too much. The cup, you only got so much to put in a cup. And so you can't fill all 7 of these at once. And even if you've got seven cups, sitting there empty in front of you, and they're all demanding something, you're just going to have to focus on one, and letting one fall to the wayside, 6 fall to the wayside. It probably just has to happen at this point. Because that's such a confusing card to begin with. I feel like that card is like the angel of confusion. My clarifier is the King of Swords, or the Starbound Phantasia Beast of Swords. And that's to say, better. You know what you need to do at this point, because it's not your first fight. It's not your first conflict. The choice is obvious. It's just a mature choice. There's a lot of this reading that's telling us, we have to grow up a little bit. And, that doesn't, you can still be a Lego adult or whatever the hell you want to be. Whatever you're into is fine. But, in the arena of interacting with other human beings, we're going to have some decorum with each other. We're going to have to realize that swinging the sword is not necessarily, proof of correctness. Not with your fellow man. You're gonna have to, say, I could take you out with this, but it's not necessary. And I think you need to see that people can solve things by not taking each other out. And we move on to our meditation, or our devotion realm. And we've got to redevote to each other. That's we have to reconnect. It can't be weird to have social interactions with each other. It can't be cringe to hold a door open for somebody. We need each other. We're not if we were meant to be individual beings, there'd be just one person. If we're assigning meaning to the universe. If we're not assigning meaning to the universe, it's not a good idea to be alone in a meaningless universe. I think it's pretty straightforward, but I want to see. We got to devote ourselves to building the happy ending, to coming together, to, we just got through the final bosses of holidays. So this could be kind of the message for next year is how do we come together, not individually, making all these holidays and things like that about what we can get, what we can have, but more about how we can each provide for each other, and not one individual being the one that bleeds out for the sake of everyone else, but how everyone as an individual brings their own gifts, builds this better tomorrow, builds this happy ending with each other. And we gotta go to the power realm. And what is our power? Truth and beauty, the sun, your light. What are you, what warmth, what light do you devote yourself to? We had the devotion realm, but then the sun to me is a devotion card. So, when you are devoted to the light, when you're devoted to, being that light you want to see in the world, you warm it up. And monkey see, monkey do. Somebody sees you do something nice. Who knows? They might screw around and go be nice to somebody just to see how that feels. And I promise you, when you walk away from a situation, an altercation, a weird confrontation, just that, no you go, no you go, no you go, incident in the grocery store, back to that. If you solve it in a polite, nice way, it just feels better. You don't carry that shit around with you that afternoon. You might just have the opposite. You might feel good. You're like, dang, I really like how that felt. The sun needs no clarification. And let's get the Page of Cups in here. This guy is in our transformation realm. And so if that's not a return to the pure heart, I don't know what is. I think that we've got to allow ourselves to be surprised and not disappointed by each other. You've got to give people the chance and the space to impress you, to prove you wrong. Plan for yourself, but, give people the space to surprise you, to make you feel like, hey, I didn't know they had that in them. I'm going to pull the card to clarify that guy with, and we've got our Five of Wands. So we're seeing all this stuff, these wands, the snakes that wrap around them, they're coming to life. We have all their fire is mixing together into this hotter fire. But what we have at the top here is this little baby peacock. And he's not that different from our little baby seahorse here. He's that kind of pure-hearted, innocent part of ourself. He's got his own little flame above him up there. And he's looking down, and he's still seeing the patterns of the creative in the world. He's still seeing where he can add to it in a positive way. And, just rising above. The transformation is we rise above this. We show we're better than this. It doesn't just have to be in some, Marvel movie or whatever, where these, hyper-powered, mutants come and have a good head-knocking session and make sure everybody acts right. We just got to do it ourselves. You can be little bitty and weak and noodly armed and still do good. And if we move into the inspiration realm or the advice. All right. So the King of Wands is here. King of Pentacles. And it's not a reading if I don't misname a card before I name it correctly. That's how you know, because it's my Persian flaw. Only God can create something perfect. I've got to put a flaw in it. Otherwise, this reading would be too perfect. And like the Japanese with symmetry, we wouldn't want to be demonic. But the King of Pentacles is there. And so that's saying, I'm talking about a lot of love and light stuff in this reading. And while that is important, it's got to have foundation. It's got to have that's got to be rooted in your actions. It's like the idea, you could be a renunciant monk and practice, something very mindful like Buddhism, but you're going to have a better impact on the world if you're a business owner who applies, conscious actions, what they pejoratively call woke stuff in what you do to be successful, because you serve as this example of success in the world. He's out there. He's built this kingdom he's built a kingdom of orchards from seeds. And it's not a pull yourself up by the bootstraps way. It's just you're gonna have to make this stuff happen for you. But when this stuff happens for you and people see it and they're like, how did you do it? And you're like, well, I didn't step over other people. I just walked on my own 2 feet. And I don't think he needs clarification, but for entertainment purposes, we're going to pull the 7 of Swords again. So even in the face of depletion and theft and ill preparedness, you still got to be that guy. You still got to be that gal. You can't throw your hands up. There's always going to be somebody trying to rip you off, and you just have to be prepared for it. You have to be better than it. And how did he say it? Because I really liked this quote. I think it was Cory Doctorow, and he has his whole enshittification, which if you don't know, if you haven't heard that phrase yet, enshittification was originally a term to describe the internet, which was, or internet applications or internet businesses, where if if it can be cheapened to make more money, it will be done. Basically, it's kind of a funny, snarky way, I guess, of saying corner cutting. So you take something like Meta, where they've got studies that show that they're not great for our mental health. And what did they do with that information? They threw it away. They said, well, we don't. we want to make money. We did this study. Who knows why? Maybe because if the study said that we were great for mental health, we would have, printed billboards about it. But what Cory Doctorow said was that there is a Mark Zuckerberg shaped hole in our policies, which means that if you got rid of that guy, and there's a lot of that guys right now, and if you get rid of that guy, there's a brand new that guy waiting in the wings to just go and be that guy, because you got to build from the ground up how to not be exploited. You have to I can't say be unexploitable, because I mean, good luck, but you have to be that king of pentacles that maybe he lowers his head and rams with those horns. The king of pentacles does not like his reputation messed with. He can be just as dangerous as the king of swords, but the thing is, he's there for what he's grown, and we have to grow a world on our own that we can that we feel like protecting, that we can be bothered to care about. And we have to bring care back. Never did get that knot out. So things are bad with each other because we don't know how to act. We think that acting is real. We think that there's going to be a Captain America, or there's going to be an Infinity Glove, or there's going to be somebody marching in to save us. But there isn't. There's just us. And I hope that that doesn't mean that we have to do awful things to make the world a better place, because what happens is you just replace the awful that's already happening with new awful, and it eventually becomes everything that it said that it was doing the awful to stop. What we got to do is be good to each other. It starts with just being good to each other. The cards told us, you guys are being bad to each other because everything feels bad right now. You're just putting your feelings out there. And we are. And I don't want to do that anymore. I am trying not to do that anymore. When you're driving, let somebody over. Somebody's got less items than you at the store. Let them go. Somebody steps on your foot in a crowd. Forgive them. It's a crowd. But I think we can do this. I think the most important thing is that if you're aware, you're responsible. And I don't always like to get super preachy, but I do. And thank you for sticking around if you have. I appreciate you watching my videos. If you would like to go and buy either tarot deck, you can go to illustrations.bigcartel.com. If you'd like to follow my art page, that's illustrations.net. I've got some 8x12 print-on-demands of each of the cards right now over at Spreadshirt. I'll put that link down below. That one's trickier for me to memorize, or I have a learning disorder. I haven't figured that out yet. If you don't have any money, that's understandable. It also costs $0 to like and subscribe. So if you wanted to like or subscribe or ring that bell, that'd be real cool. If you want me to do readings on something else, go nuts. Tell me in the comments down below. If you want to tell me some beauty tips for getting these tangles out of my hair, love to hear it. If you want to call me a bozo, comments are down below. Other than that, thanks for watching and happy reading.